This nibble originally aired on RSBANDB Update, episode 800, Flying High with the Dragonkin. Enjoy. I have to say to everybody out there who is waiting for 90 Archaeology to start this, it is worth the wait. They say completion of Desperate Times and Desperate Measures is not required, but will be helpful with some of the later puzzles. And, you know, this Digsite on its own is actually, I think, really special. Because you remember when Anachronia came out last year, Tanis, the biggest complaint was that there's no reason to go there. And, you know, now I think we've actually finally filled this island up, and you know it's full and has its place in the game.
I actually had the same thoughts that was on my short list for article subjects.
I think you should go for it.
Is it actually a real continent now with a real space and reason to go there? No, I think you're right with that. I'm not. You can't chalk that all up to this Orthen site, although the Orthen site kind of ties together a lot.
It's the cherry on top.
Yeah, it's the cherry on top that kind of brings these through lines together, you know. So, yeah. Well, we'll get into some of that later.
Because when we got this last year, it was basically just an agility course in Slayer Island.
Yeah. That was hard to navigate.
Yeah, it would have been a perfect setting for the Hunger Games. But more on that later.
Yeah.
I guess that's one way to put it.
Yeah, it is. Because, I mean, you're going to get... There's lots of hazards, and who knows what's going to happen, right? It would have been RuneScape's perfect setting for a reality TV show. But...
wow, that's interesting. They should do that now.
Yeah,
and not make it a reality TV show. Make it some, like, in-game event or something.
Yeah, and, you know, I think I can actually think of a few people I'd like to send there for that. But...
Oh my God.
Anyways, you were right, Tanis. That movie definitely had an impact.
Dude, I watched the additional 3 the following day.
Yeah, and for anybody who doesn't know what we're talking about, we did a movie night with Hunger Games this past weekend, but more on that in the Patreon spot. So, so you just start off the Orthen Digsite. You need level 90, and you know this is actually a kind of unconventional dig site compared to all the others in that it's actually split apart onto various areas of the island. And, you know, one of the things you're probably wondering is how am I going to get around to this? Because, you know, previously the only real way to get around the island in a shortcut sense was the agility course, but there's actually a new teleportation portal that you can activate with each sub-area, and it will bring you directly to the areas that you need to excavate for Orthen. And what's interesting about this is that, you know, if you look at Everlight or you look at Warforged, for example, they're all effectively very linear in the same area, but these are spread out across the entire island, and you effectively have 4 different rooms tucked into different corners of the island that you go to, which I think is an interesting way of doing it, honestly.
Well, you know, and I'm curious to find out what, like, Joe and Zant think about this, because I kind of see 2 sides to this. Now, I don't have all of the network open. I'm not strong enough yet.
I did that.
But... So for me right now, I think it kind of feels a little disjointed with the different sites like that. But at the same time, I feel that it does pull Anachronia together.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
That's about what I think about it. And to me, it kind of answers the question, what actually is Orthen? And... you know, what I thought before this update is that Orthen was kind of just literally Anachronia, like spread all about it. And this kind of solidifies that in a way. And it does bring the whole place together really well.
Yeah, because, and to talk about your disjointed sense on that, and yeah, it's all spread about. But in terms of when you unlock the different areas, we're looking at Archaeology level 90 for the first one, 101 for the second, 106 for the third, and 113 for the fourth. But you can actually get in there before 113, and it is pretty neat on that of how it looks. But to get around, there's the Orthen teleport devices, and you just complete various little tasks at each one. So, for example, the first one requires 70 divination, gives a chunk of divination XP. The next one requires you to do a research, needs some ancient viz. The third one also needs some research, a mystery complete, and some Orthen glass. And then the last one results in actually needing a full mystery to be complete in order to go into that Digsite. But if you just want to go there, you just need the research associated with it. So when it comes down to that, and some of the little puzzles along the way, it feels linear in that sense. But I think the reason we're saying it feels linear is because, well, from my perspective at least, I'm unlocking these teleport devices within the 48 hours after launch, whereas if you considered that if Orthen had launched with archaeology, you would have people who wouldn't even be in there until the second week or so, because it took them that amount of time to get 99 and then progress on to 120 after that. So we're having a bit of a different perspective here on Orthen because people already have the levels to unlock it. Whereas I think if we were waiting if we were waiting for our levels to level up and this had launched with archaeology, it would feel as though we were perhaps dealing with 3 different dig sites.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I think speaking to the idea of it being disjointed from like a narrative aspect, I think it works perfectly, because as you start reading the stuff that comes out of the Digsite, it's this it needs to be full of areas that has plants and animals, the flora and the fauna. That's really important to the whole island. So I think it's not disjointed, and yeah, as Shane says, as you reach those levels, it all comes together.
Yeah,
and it gives you something to aim for as well. You got to unlock it so you can get around the island for all its benefits.
Yeah, and go ahead, Tanis.
Well, I wanted to ask Joe then. So, like, do you feel like the lore makes it feel, kind of gives it a continuity that if you're spacefaring, you just might not get, type of thing?
Yeah, definitely, because Anachronia, it just looks at first glance, and when we first arrived before we knew fully about Orthen, it just looks like this big, and people complained about it, right? It's just this big area that's hard to get around. But even in the Yak track, the Karapak track, you examine the fungus and all that stuff, and it all starts to come together that it's all really, really important to the Dragonkin, which is why it's here on this island.
You can find full episodes of RSBANDB Update right here on this YouTube channel. If you found this video useful or just enjoyed it, like and subscribe, or leave a comment.